Alrighty. Going to talk about the little plastic bubble that some of these YouTubers, or shall we say, wannabe YouTubers, are living in. And it's an intriguing little thing that you get to see from time to time where people attempt to jump at easy money, and it's not easy at all. In fact, it's really made to look as though it's easy money, either by the people promoting the money maker, whether it be YouTube itself trying to get itself more creators, or government programs, or other things like that. There's a lot of these things that sort of are made to look like easy money, but then that's just the spin. That's the spiel. That's the fact that can be explained in 2 seconds flat, and there's an element of freedom to it. But the reality is, it's not. It's probably the hardest money you could bloody go for. But still, there's a diatribe of dickheads who never really look into things, who think it's easy money just for the fact that, well, that's what it's been spun to them as. And it's amazing how much effort these people put in for the money they get. And many of these things have an element of freedom, but the money in them is so fucking pitiful that you'd be stupid to even bother with it. Now, I sort of think of the case that I see on occasion, you know, and as some of you know, I walked around one winter and, you know, I didn't apply for 47 jobs, but I went to 47 different places looking for work, and there was nothing. I've got a day a week moving furniture. And that day sort of turned from 6 hour to 5 hour to 4 hour. And it was pathetic. At that point I realised that I was going to have to trek to the capital if I was going to have a real job in the real world anytime soon. And after months, like 5 months or more of looking, I got a job in 3 days. In fact, I had to cancel an interview on one job because I was starting another job that same day that I was due to be interviewed for another job. Phenomenal. Yet, you know, how you can go from 5, 6 months without any work while trying to look for work, and then in 3 days you got work. How the hell does this shit happen? Well, I had to step out a little bit, step out in faith. Well, not in faith, but I had to take a minor risk, because what looked to be easier was in fact impossible. To get work locally was in fact impossible. And I don't mean locally as in right around here, I mean a small city. There was nothing. And so many people in that same small city that I walked around in circles for ages, you know, it's just, it was crap. You know, I sit there and I talk to them, and they sit there with all these reasons as to why they can't go to the capital. Oh, it's too far. Oh, I'd use more fuel. All this, all that, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, they've either got no job or a really shit job because that's all they can get in that place. And it's almost like as though, oh, well, Well, this is the easy way, but it's too hard. It's too hard to look for jobs online, have to drive up there, go through a physical, you know, and drive there every day because I'd use more fuel and, oh, boo, fucking who. All the bullshit in the world. But meanwhile, you know, they'll stay in their shit job with a bad boss and bad money doing terrible stuff that they don't want to do. Because, I might have to drive on the freeway. Fucking boo-hoo. My heart bleeds piss for you, as one of my workmates used to say. You know, it's sort of a reluctance to pull the damn finger out and do anything out of their comfort zone. Anything that might... Hang on a minute here, I'm just... got a lot of bit of incense. Anything that might require them to actually, you know, put in some real effort. And that brings us to the subject that I'm about to go on about. And that is these quote-unquote easy money things out there that are fucking bullshit. And there is a fly getting badly murdered. I don't know if you can hear it. Anyway, one of them often is recycling programs. Now, there's some I've heard of in the United States, really speaking, like these pest eradication programs, and they pay far, far better for your cost of ammunition versus what money you get. You could actually, in my estimation, probably make a living from it. And some of the people in those areas do that when you know, the seasonal work dies out. It's one of those things. You know, it's all a government funded thing. We've got a similar thing here, but they never really pay that much. You can never actually profit off it. It just holds down the price of how much is spent on ammo. Having said that, you get things around the world like these aluminium can recycling programs and stuff like that. And, oh, well, you know, I can make money by going out and getting cans and blah, 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 blah. And all this sort of stuff. Oh, yeah, sure. Whoa, I can make money. How much of that shit do you have to do? How much do you have to collect? How much effort is it that you've got to put in to have $3 to buy a cup? Really? What are you going to do? How long did you spend? Oh, there's an element of freedom to it. Yes, there is. You can go out there and you can pick those cans and whenever and however you want. You don't have a boss answering to you and you know, that you've got to answer to and all that. But it's bloody hard effort for the amount of money you're getting. Oh, but I got a friend and he this, that, did, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but what he didn't do is he didn't include, when he told you make a certain amount in 1 week, that was because he, A, bought in 3 weeks worth of cans that he collected, B, he'd had his old mother down there helping him as well, C, he got into the back of a few of these sports clubs and emptied all their bins out, and D, of course he's going to tell you the good times because he wants to look like he's a winner when he's basically a fucking loser picking up aluminium cans. I've seen the same thing with scrap metal. Here in Australia, we don't get fuck all for scrap metal. Compared to you in the United States, you actually get a fairly shockingly high amount, it seems. It seems absolutely bloody inflated to me. But, you know, you might be smelting it inside the United States, whereas a lot of the, well, just about all the stuff we have all goes to China. And people are always, oh, you can make money off of scrap metal. And, oh, well, you know, one old bird I picked up scrap metal from once, she wanted to be paid for the scrap metal. And I'm like, holy smoke, that hasn't happened since before the GFC. coming up to the GFC, there was real money in it. There was real money in it. And as my scrap metal guy says, I asked him, I said, some of the prices of cars I saw going, I know that certain cars, like the old one I used to have, 1.5 ton of steel for $500, and if you took it as scrap metal, bloody hell, you'd be making $800 in scrap metal. And I said it'd actually be beneficial to pick up used cars, not for the purpose of fixing them up and selling them, but just for scrap metaling them. And he said, you know what, it was. And he said another thing, historic old farm machinery and stuff, boom, bang, stuff that was really history pieces, just going for scrap metal for a quick dollar. He said it was actually, the price was too high, and there's a lot of people that got rid of, stuff that was really relics of history, all for that almighty dollar. And of course all that ended and went pathetically low. In fact, one stage I went there, I come in and it wasn't half a ton, it was about 0.4 of a ton, and they gave me like $2.50. The next time I went in, I had even less scrap metal. And I didn't even stop at the window to go get my fucking $2 or whatever. I just beeped the horn, gave them a wave, and just kept going. I really didn't, I didn't even go back over the weighbridge like you're supposed to. I just pulled straight out in the road and give it a blast, gave them a wave, and then keep your fucking $2. If that's all it's worth, you probably need the damn $2, because I know I really didn't. Go in there, show your driver's license, sign a declaration that I'm not, doing this for commercial purposes, and this is why I'll get my payments without having to pay goods and services, blah, 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 blah. Just sign this fucking thing, and and they'll give you actual coins and notes right there. At one point that was a good gig, but it's crap. It's shit. It might be mediocre now, but it's still nothing you're going to make money off of, Plenty of times there I'd just cover me fuel costs, or barely even do that, cover me fuel costs and get a burger. At one point there, all you could do was just get a burger. You wouldn't even cover your fuel costs, And, oh man, it was, yeah. But still, even today, and even in times when it was worth absolutely diddly squat, it went from $600 a ton to fucking $18 a ton or something like this. People say, oh, you can make money. And I really feel, getting to the subject now that I wanted to talk on, YouTube is no damn different. Oh, you can do what you want and you can make money. Oh, I make $1 for 1,000 views, so long as they didn't press the skip ad button. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Some of these ads are like 3.5 minutes long. Oh, fucking what? Well, I can make $1. Just $1 from 1,000 views. You know what? You wouldn't even cover your damn internet bill in most cases in Australia. And of course they all look up to PewDiePie and, oh look, he's the Top Gun. He makes money. Did anyone tell you he got a house and it got repossessed because he couldn't make payments on the fucking house? And you remember the video about 2 years ago, I got a new car, and the thumbnail's got a Ferrari, and he's got like this fucking clapped out Nissan Pulsar with mismatched fucking hubcaps, and I'm like, oh shit, I could have got something like that for like less than a week's pay. Like, it's $500, like, I can go to work for like 3 days and buy that fucking thing, Holy smoke, really? 3 days pay, I could have bought that bucket of shit. And Oh, he's making money. Oh, I know, but really, they got big money and they got investments in it. Fuck off. The guy had a fucking house repossessed. Fuck me. You know, it's all a lot of bullshit. When the top guns can't even keep up the payment on their house, you know, when they're getting some, you know, clapped out fucking old heap of shit from the late 90s as a car, and that's the new car, like fucking what? It's bullshit. But all the same, you got all these people, you know, just as mesmerised as they are with scrap metal and everything like that. I can make money on YouTube. Oh. You know what most of them make money off? Donations handed to them from lies. That's about it. That's the real money spinner on YouTube, is to lie like shit with all these fake sob stories and have money handed to you. Oh, poor me, this, that, the other, da-da-da-da-da. And then start with the old, oh, we can do it together. We, us, we're a team. You can make it happen. Just send me the cash. You know, like, it's all in this together. We're all in this together, and we're all a team. But just a little bit, bro. Just a little bit, bro. Oh, just keep me going. I'm dying on the ground here. Oh, money. Oh, I'm dying on the fucking ground. Oh, money. Fucking hell. They're fucking money, honestly. And, you know, there's guys out there, and you and I have both seen them, you know. I remember one character. Oh, they spend 24/7, 8 hours a day. No, that'd be 8/7, not 24/7. On Hangouts. And now guess what? Yeah, they manage probably at least 7 hours a day on Hangouts, sometimes 9.5 hours a day on Hangouts. You know, it's just, they don't have a life off YouTube. Guess what? A year later, guess who doesn't have a life outside of YouTube? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the same guy was bagging out other people that don't have a life outside of YouTube. Yeah. It's incredible, you know. But the most incredible part is these people will spend 10 hours a day guarding their comments, 9 hours a day on Hangouts. Every waking moment, every thought, every idea, every fart, everything ends up on the internet, or at least filmed before it's edited and put on the internet. And, well, I'm free, I can do what I want, no, this and that. Yeah, but dude, like, you're living like so far below the poverty line it's not funny, and you're sitting there 10 hours a day on this shit. What? And you're not making enough to cover your ass. Even when you got fake sob stories and people give you money, you're still not covering what you need. You're still well below the poverty line, you know? It's just unbelievable. Like, here I am hearing about this old bag who, well, I mean, her hair's so grey that if you didn't know any different, you'd think she's a ghost. But she dealt with another old woman who, you know, she got exposed by this other old woman, and, oh, it's all the public face, private face. Public face, private face. I'm one person in public. I'm a different person in private. And all the little bitching and the carry on and the you stole my subs and the don't outshine me on my channel and the I've got troll problems and the alliances and the fucking backstabbing and the bullshit and the slandering and all the fucking bullshit in the world. All for the sole principle of getting more views. But they only get just $1 for 1,000 views. I know this particular guy who spends hours a day on Hangouts, and guess what? You trolls are making money off of me by re-uploading me doing stupid shit and abusing and slandering people and, you know, showing my ass on Craigslist or whatever and, you know, wearing my diaper or whatever and, you know, he's never actually stopped to check if there's even ads on these troll accounts. And there's none! Because we don't need this. Oh, I can ramble through everyone, spam the fuck out of everyone else's channel, try and get everyone to come over to my channel, make alliances, backstab this, that, the other, all so I can get 1,000 views and make just $1. You know, fucking, is this for real? When are these idiots going to realise that they're barely getting anywhere? The amount of hours they spend guarding their comments, fucking around on Hangouts, justifying their bullshit behaviour, wailing and whinging with lies and sob stories that they've then got to bait this person and that person to keep covered up. We're not going to wake up and realise that it'd be easier just to go get a fucking job. I mean, really speaking, you know, I know from experience because I've been on welfare before too, for 6 months, sometimes more, that when you haven't worked for 6 months or more, the first few weeks are fucking hard. And as time goes on, after about 6 months, you get used to the job and it's actually fairly cruisy. And then 2 years down the track, when they've started getting a habit, unlike previous management, of hiring people who don't have forklift licenses, you realise that you're given the paperwork, you've got the stuff to do, you've got the forklift licence, and you got not one, but 2 sidekicks without forklift licenses. And what you've got to do is you've got to sit there and calculate a method that's going to allow you to do this faster. And you can do one at a time, or you can put out 8 on the ground, and you can do one process to 8, and then the next process to those 8, and then the next process, and instead of doing all processes to 1 and putting that away and then getting out 1 more and doing all processes, you work out methods and ways. You work out how we have to stop lifting this hunk of shit by hand and make the damn forklift lift it. And you know what the beauty of all this is? You got 2 sidekicks and a forklift. And if you don't want to do it, the forklift might be able to do it. But best of all, if the forklift can't do it and you don't want to do it, you get one of your sidekicks to do it for you. Now who's on Easy Street? Emails, comments, this, that, the other, oh, pitting people against each other, you know, oh, well, this guy said this about you, blah, 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 you know, all this bullshit, you know, fuck me, I've seen it. I've been sat there being told that somebody is a self-declared wizard. At the same token that this same arsehole that tells me that later then turns around and knifes me against other people, you know. All to cover his tracks for all his other lies. You think, fuck me, you know, it's remarkable how fucking all this bullshit, it's not I hate one person and I like the other person, it's just entirely centered around me and my views, and that's it. That's it. What can I do to get more views? What can I do to get more views? And it'd just be easy to go get a fucking job. Because 2 years down the track, you've mastered every damn job there is. It's getting pretty cruisy. And you've got 2 sidekicks, so if you come across the shit bit, you get the sidekicks to do it. Hey, whoa. You know, versus how long did you spend on that thing? How long? All for what? Just $1 for 1,000 views. It's remarkable, people. It truly is remarkable how much bullshit these e-beggars go through to make such a piss weak amount of money. You know. And if they really woke up and smelt the fucking roses, they would get a job already. But no, they're stuck in this little bubble. But I've got freedom. What do you mean you got freedom? You spent 10 hours in front of that fucking screen. You know. I can do whatever I want. No, you just had to spend 10 hours in front of that screen and I hope to continue building. So how much freedom is there if you spend 10 hours in front of that fucking screen? Hey, I went to work. I put in a few hours. I got a 15-minute break. I put in another couple of hours. Got a half an hour break. And then I've done another few hours. For the last 15 minutes, I've basically done fuck all. And actually didn't do a great deal for the last half hour. But anyway, sometimes, you know, you've got to try and wind the show up a little bit. So when it's time to close. So, you know, and then that's it. I'm out. And guess what? When I go down to the bank, I get it out. And all these little just $1, just $1, just $1. Well, you know, how much have I got here? Oh, there we go. There's quite a few there. What, you had to go how hard for one of these fucking things? Oh, a whole bunch of them there. I think there's more than 10 of them there. You know, it's remarkable. It really is. And one day these idiots, you hope they wake up, but nah, they're probably just so deep in that little bubble that they just don't realise that, you know, all the people they're up against, some who they're bagging out, some who they're begging, this stuff is fairly easy to come by. And there is freedom, enough freedom when you work in a job. Because the amount of effort you put in, you might have had to drive further, you might have had to spend money on gasoline, you might have had to do things that you didn't want to do some weeks, maybe for only 3 hours every fortnight. But at the end of the day, when it's actually all summed up, when you did have to answer to a boss, when you did have to drive a certain distance, the payback, like actual real dollars, actually makes it in reality be so much easier than not going down to the capital or not even leaving your house to get fuck all versus bending a little bit for the other side, for they who are paying you, and getting a decent wad of cash to the point where you never got to worry about trying to survive, about support your family of one Asian girl and one little baby girl. It's idiocy to keep on with this bullshit, but you know, some people they ain't smart enough to see how hard they got to work to make how fewer dollars. Whereas if they actually had to kiss ass for a couple of hours every week, actually had to spend a bit on gasoline, that actually have real dollars.